Classic Ermac is bugged. He doesn't work against bosses, he doesn't damage the bosses. What can you do? How can you make sure that you defeat very difficult fatal towers with weak team without Classic Ermac? The answer to this question is simple. Immortality. Hello guys, and welcome to another MK Mobile video. Guys, today I have prepared for you a special video about how to actually make characters, Spec Ops characters in particular, totally immortal, without having some fancy equipment. Of course, Star Wars Sky already did something similar, but I will be stepping it even further, because if you're fighting 3 bosses, you cannot really sacrifice 2 of your characters and then kill 2 other bosses. It will take you ages. So, how can you become immortal by only losing 2 of your characters? Let's first take a look at the talents. One of the talents that's a must is, oh my goodness, is a Rhino Stance, because it reduces the damage that you take from basic attacks. This one, almost a must, Intimidating Presence, really important talent. Shock and Dominance, blocked special attacks deal 20% less damage. That's also important, because at certain situations, you will be immortal only if you're blocking. So, it doesn't matter what the enemy does. If you're blocking, you're immortal. If you're not blocking, you take a little damage, but we're going to get to that later. Certain characters, of course, can get 100% immortal, so they don't take any damage whatsoever. Ghost Armor, not really that important, but the Spirit Avenger is important. Remember, you need to lose 2 of your characters in the beginning of the fight. So, if you take some boss health in the process, that will be even better. And Shaolin Last Stand, one of the worst talents in the game, but really useful for this particular strategy. The rest of the talents, I reckon, for example, Precision is very important, but it doesn't really matter for this particular test. Now, what I wanted to share with you guys, this strategy has certain limitations. One of them is, of course, you can get brutalized if you're below 25% health. Also, if you have Death Mark applied, that's a problem, because remember, Death Mark increases the damage you take. So let's assume that you have 105% damage reduction. If you have 1 Death Mark, presumably the Death Mark reduces the damage by 10%, or actually increases the damage by 10%. Let's see, 5%, 10%, yeah. So if you have 105% damage reduction, then you will have 10% damage increase. So you have 95% damage reduction, and you will start taking damage. So the 2 actual counters to this, I believe also Shield Break will be a counter, but it's not really that common. So, Death Mark and Brutality if you're below 25% health. And now I'm going to quickly show you which of the characters that can become immortal in the Spec Ops spectrum of the cards. Basically, all Spec Ops characters can become almost immortal. And I mean almost because, yeah, let's do it. I will play against the Terminator. I will actually make Johnny almost immortal. When I say almost, I mean that he will be taking 0 damage from basic attacks and only 1 damage per any special attack. This is the equipment that you require for Johnny. Shadow Sash, I believe a lot of you have it. If you don't and you have the gems required or the rubies to max it out, just max it out. And the Daniel Pie. These are the 2 things that you require. So, let's jump straight. As you can see, I don't have anything else. So, I will let my Terminator die in the very beginning of the fight. The reason being, I want to trigger Pharaon Ermac passive twice. And there is a very important thing. For everything that I'm about to tell you to work, you need to have the Terminator. Dark Fate Terminator. Also, you need to have Pharaon Ermac, of course. And this is, by the way, me from the future, because when I was recording this video at some point, it seems that the recording was damaged, but anyways, I managed to record it again. This time I'm just be adding my commentary over the gameplay. So the first strategy, how to make Johnny almost immortal, is simple. You need Terminator and Ermac. They have to die, and once they are dead, then your Johnny will be taking 0 damage from basic attacks, and of course this is once he's below 50% health. So 0 damage from basic attacks and 1 damage for a special attack. Of course you can still get brutalized, so keep that in mind. Also you can take damage from damage over time effect, so this is the drawback. But in general you are almost invincible, so you can apply that not only on Johnny, on any Spec Ops character. Reason being, Terminator boosts the damage reduction by 15%, Pharaon Ermac passive boosts damage reduction by I don't know how many percent, but still by something, and Daniel Pie reduces against the damage by I believe 25%. The talent Rhino Stance reduces the damage you take from basic attacks by 20%, and the Shadow Sash reduces the damage you take from special attacks by 20%. So all in all, that's another 20% overall damage reduction. And at the end of the day, Johnny Cage is almost immortal. Actually, he is immortal, because if he's at, let's say, 40,000 health, they have to do 40,000 special attacks in order to kill you, or at least 20,000 special attacks in order to get you below 25% health, and this is not going to happen. For Johnny Cage, amazing. This can also work on any Diamond Spec Ops, actually on any Spec Ops. It's not necessary to be Johnny, but I figure that having a Diamond would be better, because you have one extra slot for your equipment. And of course, I almost forget, you are actually taking some damage from X-Rays. So X-Rays, you are still not immortal, but I doubt that many bosses will be able to get to X-Rays, especially if you're playing Johnny, because you'll be constantly keeping them power drained. So that's pretty okay. And one last thing, actually, in the current situation, if I am blocking the special attack, I don't take any damage. I will be taking 1 damage only, once again, only if I don't block. Okay, now we have to talk about how to make the Terminator immortal, and that's probably the easiest thing. All you need is Pharaon Ermac and another character, for instance, Monk. Monk will be a perfect choice, because he'll be giving some extra power. And another thing that you have to do is to die from his original form. Once again, Pharaon Ermac dies, Monk dies, and then the Terminator dies. Of course, I almost forgot, in order for the Terminator to be immortal, he requires Shadow Sash. You don't even need to have the Edenian Pie, only Shadow Sash will do for the Terminator. He is reborn into his Terminator's endoskeleton form, and from this point on, he is absolutely immortal. He cannot take any damage. He doesn't even take 1 damage from basic attacks, from special attacks. The only time when he can be possibly hurt is if the enemy applies 2 or 3 death mark stacks on him. Thus, the damage reduction will be reduced by 30% if he has 3 stacks, and he will start taking damage, but I doubt it's going to happen. Of course, the drawback here is that it will be incredibly boring to kill bosses with Immortal Terminator, but if this is the best thing that you can do, if nothing else works, so go ahead and do that. It doesn't matter how boring it is. At the end of the day, the boss will be down, and that's the most important thing. And like the Terminator, Cybernetic Jackie, she can become immortal, and she only requires Shadow Sash in order to do so. This is very easy. Actually, now when I think of it, she requires one more thing. She needs to be facing Netherrealm or Outward teammates. Not teammates, sorry, enemies, opponents. If she does that, for example, you're fighting 3 bosses, all Outworld or Netherrealm, then Cybernetic Jackie can become immortal pretty easy. Probably she's going to be the better choice compared to the Terminator. If you don't really think that she's boring to play, you can just give her Shadow Sash and 2 tower pieces, and you can just wreck the bosses. Basically, again, Terminator unfortunately has to be there, because he gives 15% chance, not 15% chance, I'm sorry, but 15% damage reduction increase, so he has to die. Pharaon Ermac has to die, and from this point on, Jackie is immortal. So I'm going to let you enjoy the video, and I really hope you found this video useful, guys, and see you next time. Take care.
Gave you too much, now I'm swallowed. Now I'm the fool while you're breaking rules. Dangerous path that I follow. Oh, go on, just do what you do. And it bleed for you, cry for you, oh, oh. Let me bleed. As I bleed for you, cry for you, oh, oh. Let me bleed. seems to follow, like a shadow dark and cold to the touch. Am I insane not to let go? Oh, go on, just do what you do. And it hurts as I bleed for you, cry for you. Let me bleed as I bleed for you, cry for you. Let me bleed. Let me bleed. Let me.
Say my name, bitch.
Perfect.